Welcome to Prime Cut, Default Prime's weekly video game news roundup. I'm your host as usual, Steven Snake Lindsay, and on this episode, we're going to talk about a controversy involving Taco Bell and a contest that's been running involving getting a PlayStation Vita. Also, we have news on the release date for Borderlands 2. Also, some rumors involving the possibility that Seaman might be coming to the 3DS. And lastly, we have news on the latest installment of the Medal of Honor series.
The critically acclaimed indie game hit, Amnesia: The Dark Descent, is now having a sequel, though the guys at Frictional are quick to note that this won't be a direct sequel as it won't follow the story from The Dark Descent. The new game will be called Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs and will be a collaborative effort between Frictional and the Chinese Room. You know, the guys behind the recently released Dear Esther? Not much is revealed about this game just yet. All we have is a description on the game's site, which is, the year is 1899. Wealthy industrialist Oswald Mandas has returned home from a disastrous expedition to Mexico, which has ended in tragedy. Wrecked by fever, haunted by dreams of a dark machine, he recovers consciousness in his own bed, with no idea of how much time has passed since his last memory. As he struggles to his feet, somewhere beneath him, an engine splutters, coughs, roars into life. Perhaps all this has to do with them deciding to drink the water down in Mexico. Then again, that's 1899, they didn't have all that health stuff in America just yet. I'm sure you've probably saw one of the commercials for this. Every 15 minutes, Taco Bell is giving away a PlayStation Vita to someone who buys one of those little taco boxes. Now imagine yourself putting in one of those codes and getting to one of those screens that says, "Congratulations, you won a PlayStation Vita." Then a few days later you receive an email telling you, "Oh, sorry, you really didn't win." And this has been happening to not just a few people, but several. Now the reasoning for this is due to certain people trying to cheat the system and hacking into it to win. However, Taco Bell, being the PR giants that they are willing to help out these people. For all those people that won the Vita, they'll be entered into a drawing to see if they will actually win what they were told they won in the first place. Yeah, that's even for the ones that legitimately won it. So I can bet that a lot of people are going to say no bueno, and I'll see you in court. Have you been wondering when you can get back on Pandora and get to see your old pal, the Claptraps? We now have a release date for Borderlands 2, and it'll be coming out on September 18th. We also have a trailer to celebrate this announcement by showing off several of the characters in action. You know, the replacements for the Siren, the Soldier, the Brick, and the Hunter, who's now looking like a freaking ninja. And also he's named after one of my favorite Maverick hunters. You know, Zero. Yeah, I know that these characters are probably not going to be exactly the same classes, but they somewhat look familiar. Needless to say, I am definitely excited to get my hands on the game when it's released later this year. If you're like me, you probably haven't heard about the last story before, which makes you feel really weird and out of place when it appears that everyone else has. Designed by a team headed by the creator of Final Fantasy, this game has been called a callback to classic Final Fantasy games. Now from the trailers that I've found, the battle system seems more engaging and action-based than those traditional JRPGs. It also seems to be toting that you'll have to think some, because we all like to think, right? Also, there'll be options to customize your character's looks. Boy, do I love customizations! Till I sadly realize I don't have clothes that I want my character to wear. Why? Anyways, the game is currently set to be released later this year on the Wii. It might just be one of the last games to be released prior to the release of the Wii U. Coming out in March will be a new mode in Uncharted 3 called Co-op Shade Survival Mode. No real info is revealed about this game mode, but we're told that it shall be a fiery new game type. And then they revealed this picture. You know, I see what you did there, Naughty Dog. You hired someone who can make jokes on my level. I guess we shall have to just wait and see for any more news on this hot topic. See what I did there? Yeah, it's really bad. Were you disappointed last week when we revealed the final characters for the console version of Street Fighter Cross Tekken? Well, you might get lucky and get your favorite character on the Vita which will be having 12 extra characters. Those that are from the Street Fighter side are Guy, Cody, Dudley, Elena, Sakura, and Blanca. And on the Tekken side are Elisa, Brian, Christy, Jack, Lars, and Lee. There you go. If you've been wanting one of those guys, all you gotta do is go out and buy a fancy new handheld console. I'll leave it up to you to weigh the pros and cons of that decision. Definitely one of the games that I'm most looking forward to this year is Mass Effect 3. Definitely one of my most disappointing moments this year was when I kept holding off on pre-ordering the collector's edition of the game on Amazon, and now it's no longer there. Why didn't I do it? I should have learned when I didn't pre-order Dark Souls early enough. My sadness and depression aside, there's a new trailer for Mass Effect 3, and it's all about taking back Earth. It's also pretty bleak with a, yeah, we're probably gonna die feel to it. Hey, at least we don't have much time to wait, as the game shall be out on March 6th. It's not all that often we get to see real presidents or wannabe presidents in a game. Sure, the likes of Obama and Clinton have appeared in NBA Jam, and then there was the whole political machine game which had several candidates in the actual game. But this time around, we can get to see the likes of Barack and Michelle Obama, Mitt Romney, and even George Washington. Currently, this is available for free on only the Steam version, but it should be making its way to other formats soon enough. Hopefully. To imagine, 10 years ago, Kingdom Hearts was born, and I was still in middle school. Oh, both of us were so young and naive. To celebrate this 10th anniversary, they're now having a collector's box that will come with Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. That isn't all either. You'll also be getting Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2, Kingdom Hearts Recoded, some postcards, and the fancy box it comes in. It really isn't all that fancy. And all of that for the low price of $198. No. Just no, Square. There's no way all of that is worth that much. All of those games together just might be $100. But I know the rest of that stuff isn't worth $98. How about this, Square? I'm just pitching it out. How about for an anniversary collection, we get several of the games bundled together for the consoles and have them upgraded to HD? Or maybe you can go and release the freaking final mixes for Kingdom Hearts and 2 on an HD collection disc. How about that, Square, instead of some stupid postcards? Do you remember Seaman? It was a game that came out on the short-lived but deeply loved Dreamcast. It involved you taking care of, well, Seaman, an aquatic animal that has a human face, and all of it's narrated by Leonard Nimoy. I personally never got the chance to play with Seaman as I came into the Dreamcast craze 5 years after its release, and I didn't really have a lot of games for it anyways. Now reports are coming in that you'll be able to get Seaman on your 3DS, as well as possibly other classic series out there getting remakes on the 3DS, which might even include Shenmue. Now, it's not 100% confirmed just yet, but it does seem likely that we'll be able to play with and talk to our Seaman in 3D soon. Just released recently by Sega is a little video called Guess Who's Back. In that video we got some catchy beats, and at the end we see an emblem that seems very familiar to a game from my Dreamcast days of past. Now if you guessed Jet Set Radio, then you're thinking along the same lines as everyone else. Now with the previous mentioned news involving the possibility of Seaman coming to the 3DS, could we be seeing revival of some of the Sega classic games, primarily from the Dreamcast era? You know, I sure hope we would, because I love several of those games, and I know several other people do as well. Just recently released game, Asura's Wrath, is supposedly going to have DLC that will feature Ryu appearing in-game. Now, that's the Ryu from Street Fighter fame and not of the ninja variety. There's a picture that has been revealed showing this confrontation between Asura and Ryu in Asura's Wrath. And I know what you're thinking out there. But Snake, with that health bar at the top, the side view, and the gauge at the bottom, this is a fighting game like Street Fighter, not an action game like Asura's Wrath. You must be mistaken on who's appearing in whose game. You know, I thought the same thing, but IGN is claiming that it's the other way around. That scene takes place in Asura's Wrath, the game. Then again, I'm sure I've seen weirder. I'm sure I have. In the latest issue of Xbox Magazine, it's been revealed that the latest installment in the Medal of Honor series is going to be known as Medal of Honor Warfighter. Not much is known about the game just yet, but we do know that it will involve you playing as a Tier 1 operative. It'll be coming out in October, and will use the Frostbite 2.0 engine. You know, also known as the engine used by Battlefield 3 that made it pretty. We'll just have to wait and see involving info for this game, with a lot of the details coming out at this year's GDC. Now with that, it brings us to the end of this week's broadcast. Now for more news involving the video game world, bookmark our website, defaultprime.com, and be up to date on our weekly news roundup and our reviews and previews. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. And as I always say, because I'm unoriginal, see you next time, gamers.